Crystal Asige versus Soul Generation. We have been seeing these clips of Crystal Asige in the court testifying against Soul Generation. She accused the label of taking advantage of her disability and violating her intellectual copyrights. So many people are wondering what exactly is the reason for her suing Soul Generation. This is exactly what we will be breaking down in this video. I have seen numerous reactions online with some people supporting Crystal Asige, whereas some fail to understand why she's going through all this and suing Soul Generation. Some people claim and think that she's biting off the hand that fed her, given that people got to discover her, most people got to discover her after her debut with Soul Generation. So people are saying that Soul Generation gave her fame and popularity, so why is she suing them now? On the other hand, some people feel that in this industry, the entertainment industry in Kenya, it's easy for one to take advantage of another, especially when one is at a higher position than the other. So some people support Crystal Asige and actually wish that she wins the case. But for us to be able to form an informed opinion on the whole matter, we need to understand why exactly she's suing Soul Generation, and that's what we'll be breaking down in this video. So one, she claims that she didn't receive any royalties from her work and her art while at Soul Generation. Let's first understand how she got to be part of Soul Generation. So back in 2019, Sauti Soul had formed a record label, which is Soul Generation, and had signed a couple of artists including Ben Soul, Nveri, Crystal Asige, and even Kaskazini. And in 2019, we got to see the whole group of Soul Generation releasing music together, and one of those songs was actually Extravaganza. According to Crystal Asige, after Extravaganza was released and it became a hit, leading to the discovery of all these artists, Kaskazini, Ben Soul, and Nveri, BN approached her and asked her to be part of Soul Generation in terms of a music writer and a producer. But then Crystal Asige explained her reservations, requesting for discussion and negotiation on the contract, but the negotiation meeting never materialized. Later on, in November the same year, she claims that BN and the manager of Sauti Soul, Moriasi, and the manager of Soul Generation, Natasha Kobu, called her for a meeting where they dispelled her from Soul Generation. She claims the reasons they named for dispelling her from Soul Generation were that she was weak in all aspects as an artist, and they just didn't feel that she was ready, and they also claimed to have been broke. But by the time she was getting kicked out of Soul Generation, they had used some of her work, and this includes a couple of songs, namely Extravaganza itself. In Extravaganza, she claims that she wrote part of the song and never received royalties from it. Then there's the song Favorite Song by Ben Soul. She claims that she arranged and performed the background vocals. There's also the song Intro. Intro is part of the Midnight Train album by Sauti Soul. Crystal Asige claims that this was her original composition and sound recording, which was featured on the album without her knowledge or her consent. There's also an alleged $5 million deal that she claims she never benefited from. So back in 2019, Soul Generation and a company called KLM Royal Dutch Airlines Kenya signed a one-year deal. The deal was for Soul Generation to make a 6-track album for the airlines company dubbed 1919 to Forever. The company was marking 100 years since its birth, so they wanted a track album to celebrate this. Crystal Asige claims that a song which was originally composed by her, Lenga, was used as part of this project without her knowledge and consent. She also claims that Soul Generation earned 5 million Kenyan shillings from this deal, and she never got a cent from it. Now that we know what some of her complaints were, what does she want the court to do, or what does she want to gain from this court proceeding? Keep in mind that she took to court back in 2022. So one, she wants the court to compel Sauti Sol and Soul Generation to reveal how much they have earned from the following songs: Extravaganza, Ukiwa Mbali, Favorite Song, Lenga, and Intro. She also claims that she didn't get any credit for the song Lenga, and she also claims that she didn't get compensation for most of her work, or most of the work that she did while at Soul Generation. She was, however, unable to provide proof at the court that revenues were taken without her agreement.
The second defendant cited that I was the weakest of the acts in terms of performing, singing, recording, basically every aspect of an artist. And then at the same time, he said, but he also said that I was amazing at songwriting, and I did great in the group songs, etc. I was also told by Moriasi Omambia that the reason that they're dismissing me is because they're broke and they can't afford having as many artists as they thought, or they started with rather, in the beginning of the year. And they said that they don't believe I'm ready, and many other reasons that were cited. It wasn't clear. There wasn't one pinpoint. It seemed to be whatever was thrown on the wall, whatever would stick.
Okay. So was that a clean break, or were there other issues pending?
Well, they had.
Some time back, BN had mentioned that Crystal Asige left Soul Generation harmoniously. So, who do you think is telling the truth here? Is Crystal Asige justified in suing Soul Generation? What do you think about this? Do they need to compensate her for anything? Engage with me in the comment section, and always keep it here on BNN for more updates.